You think women notice the watch, the car, the gray hair. If you believe it's money, status, or youth, you're already looking in the wrong place. Because the first thing a woman notices about an older man isn't something you can buy, fix, or hide. It's something she senses before you speak. And here's the uncomfortable truth. Two men can walk into the same room with the same age, the same income, the same appearance, and only one of them registers as a man. Not because of what he has, but because of what he radiates. Miss this, and nothing else you bring will ever be enough. Age is not an advantage. It never was. Time doesn't make a man attractive. It only reveals him. It magnifies what's already there. If a man grows older without growing deeper, age doesn't give him authority. It gives him weight. He looks tired, reactive, easily offended. Not experienced, just worn down. But when a man matures correctly, age does something very different. It strips away the noise. It sharpens his presence. It turns him from someone who reacts into someone who decides. This is the mistake most men make. They think years alone will earn them respect. They think survival equals wisdom. They think attraction will eventually follow patience. It doesn't. Age without discipline creates bitterness. Age without self-mastery creates neediness. Age without purpose creates desperation disguised as confidence. But maturity makes a man dangerous in silence. A mature man doesn't rush to be understood. He doesn't explain himself to feel safe. He doesn't perform masculinity. He embodies it. That's why some older men repel attention while others command it without effort. Not because of money, not because of status, but because one aged and the other evolved. Stoicism teaches this clearly. Age doesn't impress, mastery does, and women sense that mastery instantly. Before a word is spoken, before a story is told, before credentials are revealed. This video isn't about looking younger, it's about becoming someone age can't weaken. Because when maturity is real, time doesn't make you invisible. It makes you undeniable. The first thing a woman notices about an older man is not how confident he looks when everything goes right. It's how he responds when something goes wrong. A small inconvenience, a delay, a mistake, an unexpected disruption. This is where most men reveal who they really are. Younger men tend to react fast. Too fast. Their nervous system is loud. Their face tightens. Their tone shifts. They rush to regain control, to prove they're unfazed, while showing the opposite. Stress leaks out through micro-movements, restless energy, unnecessary words. The experienced man does the opposite. He slows down. Not because he's indifferent, but because nothing here is new to him. He's lost before. He's been embarrassed. He's failed publicly. He's watched plans collapse and rebuilt anyway. So when the coffee spills, or the plan changes, or someone tests him subtly, his body doesn't panic. His mind doesn't scramble. He doesn't need to perform calmness. It's already there. This is aura. Aura is not charisma. Aura is nervous system authority. It communicates one silent message. Nothing here can shake me. And that message is felt instantly. Women don't consciously analyze it. They sense it. The way you pause before speaking, the way your shoulders stay relaxed, the way you don't rush to explain, justify, or control the moment. Stoicism teaches this clearly. You don't master events. You master your response to them. And that mastery isn't learned from books alone. It's earned through exposure, through loss, disappointment, and pressure survived without bitterness. That's why age alone doesn't give this aura. Experience does. Integration does. Here's the practice that builds it. The 5-second pause. Whenever something triggers irritation, embarrassment, or stress, wait 5 seconds before responding, not to look cool, not to manipulate perception, but to reclaim ownership of your reaction. That pause breaks emotional slavery. It reminds your nervous system that you choose how you move. Do this consistently, and something shifts. Your reactions soften. Your presence deepens. Your silence gains weight. And women notice, not because you try to impress, but because you no longer need to react to be seen. That is composure. That is aura. Most men think attraction is created by saying the right things. They rehearse stories, they prepare jokes, they wait for pauses so they can jump in and impress. Women notice this immediately, not because it's awkward, but because it reveals something deeper. It reveals that the man is performing, not present. An intentional man doesn't speak to be noticed. He listens to understand, and that difference is felt in seconds. A grounded, experienced man doesn't rush conversation. He doesn't compete for airtime. He doesn't interrupt to prove intelligence or value. He lets silence breathe. He allows the other person to finish their thought fully, even when it takes longer than expected. Why? Because he isn't afraid of disappearing. Women instinctively recognize this. They sense when a man is waiting for his turn versus when he is genuinely absorbing what's being said. One feels transactional, the other feels rare. The attractive middle-aged man doesn't ask surface-level questions to sound interesting. He asks questions that touch lived experience. Not what do you do, but what made you choose that path? Not did you like it, but how did that change you? These questions don't demand attention. They invite depth, and depth signals maturity. From a Stoic perspective, this is not a communication trick, it's discipline. The discipline to restrain the ego. The discipline to stay curious instead of performative. The discipline to value truth over approval. As Marcus Aurelius implied, most suffering comes from our need to be seen. A man who listens deeply has already outgrown that need. Here's a simple practice that sharpens this instantly. When someone finishes speaking, don't respond right away. First, paraphrase what they said in your own words. So what you're saying is, it sounds like that experience taught you. This does two things. First, it proves you are actually listening. Second, it forces you to slow down your own impulse to react. This isn't social polish, it's self-mastery. A man who listens well controls the pace of interaction without force. He creates safety without weakness. He makes others feel seen without losing himself. And that's why intentional conversation is magnetic. Because a man who truly listens is a man who doesn't need to prove anything. Most men misunderstand self-care. They think it's vanity. They think it's softness. They think it's something you do after you've proven yourself. But women don't read self-care that way at all. They read it as self-respect, not the loud kind, the quiet kind that shows up in details most men overlook. Is your shirt ironed? Not expensive, just deliberate. Are your shoes clean? Not new, just maintained. Do you stand upright, or do your shoulders collapse under your own fatigue? These are not style choices. They are signals, signals of discipline, signals of responsibility, signals that you keep promises, especially the ones you make to yourself. A man who neglects himself communicates something without ever speaking. I let things slide, and women know something most men don't want to face. How a man treats himself is how he eventually treats everything else. His work, his health, his commitments, his relationships. This is why self-care isn't about looking young. It's about looking in command. Older men who are attractive aren't chasing youth. They're preserving order. They sleep properly. They move their body, even when motivation is gone. They groom themselves not to impress others, but because chaos starts with neglect. That discipline is deeply attractive, especially to mature women, because it suggests stability without words, leadership without dominance, control without rigidity. Stoicism was never about rejecting the body. It was about mastering it. Marcus Aurelius didn't preach indulgence. He preached stewardship of the mind, of the body, of one's daily conduct. Self-care, done correctly, is not indulgence. It's leadership turned inward. It says, I am responsible for myself. I don't outsource my well-being. I don't wait until things fall apart. And here's the truth most men miss. You don't rise above others by neglecting yourself. You rise by refusing to decay. So stop calling it vanity. Stop postponing it. Stop apologizing for it. A man who respects himself doesn't announce it. He shows it in how he stands, how he maintains order, and how seriously he treats the responsibility of being himself. And that is impossible to fake. Women don't notice middle-aged men the way young men fear they don't. They read them. They read the way you enter a room without scanning for approval. They read the way you respond when something goes wrong. Not with tension, not with performance, but with calm acceptance. They read the way you speak. Not rushing, not proving, not oversharing, but choosing words with intention. By this stage of life, attraction is no longer about flash. It's about signals. Composure signals that chaos doesn't control you. Intentional conversation signals that you're present, not hungry. Self-respect signals that you are capable of leadership, starting with yourself. This is why age isn't a disadvantage, but it's also why it's unforgiving. Because age doesn't hide immaturity, it exposes it. An ungrounded young man looks inexperienced. An ungrounded older man looks exhausted. Time amplifies who you already are. If you spent years avoiding responsibility, age makes you brittle. If you spent years blaming circumstances, age makes you resentful. If you spent years chasing validation, age makes you invisible. But if you spent years learning restraint, if you learned how to sit with discomfort instead of reacting, if you learned how to listen instead of dominate, if you learned how to keep promises to yourself, age sharpens you. This is why the most attractive older men don't try to look young. They don't borrow energy from trends. They don't perform masculinity. They embody it. Not loud, not aggressive, not desperate, just solid. So stop chasing youth. Youth fades, panics, and overreacts. Start mastering yourself, because mastery compounds, mastery carries weight, mastery ages better than looks ever will. If this resonated, you already know why. Like the video if it hits something you've felt but never articulated. And in the comments, be honest. Which trait do you need to rebuild? Composure, intention, or self-respect? Stay grounded. Stay quiet. Stay dangerous.